So Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, used to serve in the Congress. The first thing you have to do when you come to our state, and this is true anywhere. So I get emails all the time. People asking me, hey, I'm thinking of running for legislature or city council, school board. What do I need to do? The first thing any successful candidate needs to do, whether you're running for president or something local, is you have to identify who your base is and then build that base, right? That's your team of where your true believers, your activists, the people that will multiply your efforts. They'll knock on the doors with you, that are in it for the cause. They believe in you as a candidate and the agenda, the issue items that you're running on. You have to build a successful base. And that's why in the past we've seen candidates like Rudy Giuliani have all these huge poll numbers, like back in 2008, winning a lot of these name ID contests. But when he actually started campaigning in individual states, he could build no base. And so he just kept trying to move his candidacy further down the schedule to find a state where he had a natural base, right? Scott Walker is another recent example. He came to Iowa despite a dramatically impressive resume.
Sure.
But he could not build a base, right? Mike Pompeo has an impressive resume. But what is his base? I think that's the challenge for him.
I think his base, especially after visiting with him, and of course, he's not saying, hey, I'm running for president in 2024. What do you think I should do? That wasn't the conversation. But what he's doing that first step of building a relationship, of finding out who do I need to know. Mm-hmm. But after visiting with him, I would say, Steve, his base will be the evangelical Christian. He's done a lot for the fight for religious liberty, both as Secretary of State and before that when he was a congressman and then CIA director. I think he'd also say that part of his base would be the Trump base. Here's a guy who is part of a lot of historic accomplishments. One would be in his name on the embassy in Jerusalem. 2 would be with the Abraham Accords. 3 would be being the first Secretary of State that's gone to Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. He has a little bit of that Trump, I'm just going to do the right thing and let the chips fall where they may. He may be a little bit more, how would I say that? A little bit more cautious reserved than Trump on that. But he still looks like I'm the guy who has a titanium spine, who's willing to take on the tough issues. So I think the evangelical base is one, but I also think some of that Trump base he'd have to go after as well.
What do you think his challenges would be as a candidate?
I think his challenges a little bit when you mentioned Scott Walker. Scott Walker came in with an impressive resume. But for a lot of people, when they met Scott Walker, it's kind of like, well, now you're kind of under-delivering. Scott was kind of like, well, what do you want me to do? Versus being this, I'm just going to go on offense right away. Mm-hmm. Pompeo's a little bit that same way, a very impressive resume. You take a look at that, this guy's prepared to be president of the United States. And now if his mantra, when he's candidate, when he's up on stage, I'm telling you right now, one-on-one, I've interviewed him twice now. I've visited with him a couple of different times. He's very impressive one-on-one. Can he now on stage deliver that kind of a message that would inspire the broader audience? That's going to be a challenge for him, I think.
I think a logical line of criticism, if you're one of the other candidates, and who knows, maybe Donald Trump ends up endorsing him. I don't know. You know me. I'm out. Even though I'm reading tea leaves, I would right now, if I had to wager, I would wager he will not run again. Uh-huh. Would I be shocked if Aaron broke in here in the next 5 minutes and said Trump's already announced he's running again? No, don't ever. When it get ever's a strong word, but when it comes to something that Donald Trump may or may not do in the future, don't ever get dogmatic about one of those options.
Yeah, okay? Don't go to Vegas and lay down a bunch of money.
Yeah, do not get dogmatic on Donald Trump futures bets, okay? Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't run, then if you're coming out of that administration, whether it's him or Nikki Haley who worked in that administration, now I think Pompeo has a different candidate profile and who he wants to appeal to than Nikki Haley does. But if I'm Ron DeSantis or Ted Cruz or any of these other guys that may also run, I mean, the obvious question I'm going to ask is, if you were so vitally important to the Trump administration, why isn't he endorsing your candidacy, right? I mean, that I think is a consistent challenge you would have to answer.
And I think what you're going to do is you have a lot of people in that boat. I mean, Mike Pence. If Mike Pence runs, why? If you were the vice president for 4 years, why isn't he endorsing your candidacy? Mike Pompeo's going to do that same thing. if Ben Carson runs again, that could be the same thing.